9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
What's going on, people? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me. This is Coach Marcus live on A2D Radio. We kicking it this Thursday night. Bombshell after bombshell after bombshell. Ain't had no rest. The information just keeps coming. The NFL is a gift that keeps on giving. Man, what is going on? My boy Vince, first out the limo. Rob Povia, what's up, fam? Man, I mean, we just kept getting barraged with information, just like trying to have a quiet evening. Bam, Nick Saban wants to retire. Then you catch your breath. Bam, Pete Carroll's walking away or mutually agreed to separate, but I'm still working in the front office or whatever it is that they're doing. I ain't quite sure yet. And then today, Belichick finally, they get that all squared away. I'm wondering if they clearing the road to get Vrabel back in there, to get somebody homegrown up in there. So somebody to play for the organization that's still a good coach. I don't know, man. It's a lot of stuff going on. Belichick, Vrabel, Bieniemy, Rivera, Wilkes, Josh McDaniels, Jim Harbaugh. All these people are now eligible to be coaches. So now, like, in a matter of less than a week, Nick Sirianni finds himself on the hottest of hot seats. And let me be honest with you, even with our, 5-game slide, I didn't see that coming. We all know what our issues are on defense, and that was the crux of the problem. Then it got exasperated by the plain Jane vanilla predictable offense that we run, his offense that we're running, and you just couldn't, and we still haven't really put it together. So it's been a lot of noise the last couple of days, but man, the news cycle these last 3 days has just been incredible. Michigan wins the national championship, so everybody's looking at Jim Harbaugh, licking their chops, trying to figure out what he's going to do. Man, it's crazy. Never would have saw this coming 2 weeks ago. Brian Daly, what's going on, my friend? It has been absolutely bananas. And I'm considering, I mark myself safe from Cat Williams' conversation. But even that, and then Stephen A. Smith drops his bomb today about Jason Whitlock, and it's kind of getting sidetracked, not quite on sports, but it is on sports, and especially with Stephen A. being, from Philly. The news cycle has just been off the chain. Off the chain. So let's stay at home first. And real quick, want to give a shout out real quick. I got a guy, young fella, 9 years old. His name is Alex Brownfield. Alex, if you're listening, what's good? Thank you for joining my squad. He is a Chiefs fan. I know we're talking about the Eagles, but you all know that a good friend of mine is Jason Dunn, who played for the Chiefs and played for the Eagles. So we're all connected in some way, shape, or form. But wanted to give a shout out to Alex Brownfield. So what's up, big guy? Thank you for being a part of the A2D team and checking me out, man. I appreciate you. Anthony Aids, what's up? Is it AIDS or Ades? How do you pronounce that? AIDS? My bad. But yeah. So what else we got? Yeah, speaking of Shannon Sharp, what's up, grandson? Chris Hernandez in the building. Shannon Sharp made a comment the other day. I did a video about it. Check it out on my YouTube channel, Pro Fan Talk. He said the people in Philadelphia are worried that Jalen Hurts is going to turn into a Carson Wentz situation. And that took me back for a second. And I was like, where did that come from? Now, I'm sure on social media and stuff like that, people may have brought that up because Carson Wentz, it's natural. You're going to look at the past and bring stuff like that up, especially last year going to the Super Bowl. But I did not hear anything like that from Philadelphia fans on the radio. And me personally, I didn't see that on social media. If you in the chat, if you heard Jalen Hurts was going to turn it into a Carson Wentz, if you heard anything like that, like put an 11 in the chat. Type 11 in the chat. I did not hear that at all. When I heard it, I was like, Shannon, what are you talking about? Where are you getting this information? And the first thing I thought of, that is media heads, even Shannon Sharp being a former player that should know better. You got media heads getting information from somewhere else, or what I think usually is the case in this situation. You got people looking at Philadelphia, and this happens in other cities as well. You got people looking at us from the outside looking in. So you get the macro view of everything that's going on, but you lose context. You lose all the context. I don't think anybody has ever worried about this turning into a Carson Wentz situation. I didn't understand if he was trying to say because he got hurt or because he's kind of regressed a little bit. I'm assuming he was talking about because of the injuries, but I don't know. I just thought he was way off base. Carter, I let me be honest with you, bro. I have never seen that. Now, I've heard people jump on and say he's better than Carson or Carson is better than him and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of Jalen Hurts, and I will tell you, if you're looking at strictly QB stats, standing in the pocket, all of that kind of stuff, delivering the ball, arm strength, all of those check boxes, then yes, Carson Wentz, I think, is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. Because if you want to go by the combine stats, okay. But you got to look at more than that. You can't just go by that anymore. And that's the situation you have with a lot of mobile quarterbacks, or you could even say black quarterbacks. They want to pigeonhole them in that certain way. One of the things that's been coming out a lot this week is Shannon Sharp and a couple of other people. They've been playing sound clips when Lamar Jackson got drafted and how he wasn't going to do this. He's not a franchise quarterback. He'll never take him to the Super Bowl, this, that, and the other. And then he's on course to win his second MVP. But in this situation, doesn't really matter. He's got to go deep in the playoffs. He's got to get to the Super Bowl. I don't see anybody beating them if he can hold on to the ball and the defense keeps doing what they've been doing. So we shall see. 3 straight playoff appearances and 1 Super Bowl appearance. Who's this? Steve Wake. Those 3 years mean he hasn't missed the playoffs. Yes, a bad season next year, and I can see Sirianni being fired. Steve, I thought the exact same thing last week. The exact same thing last week for the same exact reasons. This man went to the playoffs 3 straight times. And let's be real. Last year, he should have won Coach of the Year. He should have won it. So every year he's been to the playoffs. You can't fault him for having a good team. Are they gonna give Coach of the Year this year to Shane Steichen? He didn't make it to the playoffs. So what are they going to do? Is going Shanahan out in San Francisco? I don't know. Who's the front runner for Coach of the Year right now? I haven't even kept up with that race. So Oh, Carter, this is the $1 million question right here. Because soon as this happened, everybody's ears perked up and everybody's social media went crazy. Twitter almost crashed. Vrabel, they talking about bringing Vrabel in as a DC, and now they want Belichick. And then I saw what Colin Cowherd and Stephen, what's his name? Nick Wright were talking about. That Belichick would be a perfect fit here. And I was like, I don't know. Don, what's going on, my guy? Vince, yes. My vote would be D'Amico Ryans. Or Stefanski. You could go either way. I wouldn't be mad at either one. Because the last time the Browns made it to the playoffs, that was rookie year, Baker Mayfield's rookie year. So I don't. Would I want Belichick here? I wouldn't. I don't think I would. I would rather get Vrabel than Belichick. Because I think Belichick is probably set in his ways. And not for nothing, I don't know how him and Howie would vibe. To me, they look like they would be on two different planes. But that's one of those situations where you never know until you get into that situation. Pete Evans is in the building, y'all. I don't know if Belichick, because he would want to be GM. He come from that Parcells, and he come from that era. So he wants say in the management, the draft picks, and all of that kind of stuff. And let's be honest, he got the cachet to do it. He's got enough. It's not going to be too many people that could one up Howie Roseman, especially with the last 4 to 5 years that Howie Roseman has had drafting and putting a team together. Not too many people that's going to be above Howie. Belichick probably would be, because all he would have to do was like, hey, hold these rings. I got too many on one hand. You know what I'm saying? So you can't argue with that. So I don't know though, man. I wouldn't mind Vrabel as a DC. I don't know if I would want him as a head coach. Because listen, as much as we given Nick Sirianni the business, right? And rightfully so. There must be something said for the relationships that he has cultivated in that locker room. And in my opinion, that is one of the only reasons that he didn't lose that locker room. And it just didn't go to hell in a handbasket. Because every coach cannot do that. You got some great coaches out there, and the players can't stand them. But you got it, at least it seems to me, that everybody in their locker room would run through a wall for Sirianni. And that's legit, because that's where, and I talk sometimes about his loyalty to a fault, but that's what loyalty is for. When you bring your guys in, and them same guys, they coming over to dinner, and he just strikes me as that type of dude. And he built them relationships. He solidified that. And that means something. That does go into helping keep a locker room together. Josh McDaniels couldn't do that. Robert Saleh, he seems to be that type of guy. Dayball up in New York, he seems to be that type of guy. I think Pete Carroll was a little bit like that. They got a little something extra. They got that personality that people love. And people gravitate towards that. So, Chucks, what's going on, my guy? Todd Womack says Philly Dilly, fam. Carter, I would love Vrabel here as a DC, but I would think that he would want to still be a head coach. So I don't know how that would pan out, but I would think he would want to still be a head coach. Or maybe not. Maybe he wants a break. Maybe he don't want that headache for a couple years before, because somebody like Vrabel, if Vrabel took the demotion and became a defensive coordinator, he could always go back up because he's got that experience. I think he could always go back up. Don, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. Why is there talk that we're trying to become the Patriots? I don't know. Todd, explain yourself. I don't understand the question. Who's saying that we're trying to become the Patriots? Because people have been talking about us trying to get Belichick. Pete Carroll, Trip Falk, Pete Carroll, head coach. Pete Carroll is 72 years old, man. And Belichick is what, 71? 70? That's a grind. Pete Carroll been doing this a long time. Not to mention what he did at SC and all that kind of stuff. Hold up. Back up real quick. Yeah, Belichick 7. That's what I thought. Carroll is 72. Belichick is 71. Renee, great point. And don't be surprised if we see John Gruden's name pop up in the next couple days. The NFL is looking for a way to sweep this nonsense with the emails and all of that kind of stuff. They looking for a way to sweep this stuff under the rug. And the only way they can do it is to get John Gruden out of limbo and let him coach again in the NFL. Because one of the stipulations of that would be he would have to drop that case. That's the only way I could see them letting him back in the league. And the NFL would do that. Because I still believe that Daniel Snyder and John Gruden, them emails and everything that was exchanged, all of that kind of stuff. And in today's electronic age, you can't get rid of all of that information. It's too many receipts out there. And plus, them people working in them big offices, they don't know how to do that. They don't understand how to do that. It's so many people, especially when you talk about the older types or the peoples that are just super, super busy. And it is amazing in this day and age how many people still can't figure out how to send the email correctly. And most of them guys in them three-piece suits sitting as the head of a team or organization, those be the main ones. These rich billionaires / trillionaires and team owners and stuff like that, they don't work well with technology because either they're lazy or they never had to. It's too many examples. And in this situation specifically with Daniel Snyder and John Gruden, anytime you send an email, I don't care how good you scrub that server, there is breadcrumbs everywhere. And somebody's got that backed up somewhere. You don't send information like that and it's saved in one location and one location only. It doesn't work that way these days. So my guess is the NFL is trying to do everything they can to make sure that bomb never goes off. Because if it does, they got a problem on their hands. Because it goes into colorism, racial issues, classes, all of that kind of stuff. All the isms that nobody wants to deal with. And it'll be a seriously woke war. And they would end up losing. Well, they won't lose. They'll lose a lot of money, but they won't lose. NFL, their pockets are too deep. Marson said these boomers can't use Microsoft Outlook. Yeah, man. That powder keg is still simmering, still smoldering, and the right match will make that thing go up in smoke. Like, I don't know where the NFL sits with all the Daniel Snyder stuff, I don't know. He went away and they were happy to drop his name very quickly. So he's somewhere spending his, 2.3 billion or however much he made for selling the team. But the I believe the legal stuff is not done yet. So I don't know if NFL's out of the woods yet or not. I don't know. Yeah. See, Martian, I don't disagree with you. Here's my thing when it comes to that, right? And this is the problem with this era of sports in general. NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, MMA, whatever you watching, soccer, Premier League. Here's the problem. If you're gonna get rid of somebody, if Saban is gonna walk away, if you're gonna come to in your relationship with somebody like Pete Carroll or somebody like Bill Belichick, if you're gonna do that, you got to know that you gambling on anybody else that follows up, whether they have experience or not. You are gambling. How many people have gambled on Josh McDaniels and it ain't never panned out? Not one time. Denver gambled on Sean Payton, not paying out. We gambled on Sean Desai. We gambled on Matt Patricia. Not working out. Matt Patricia got more experience than Sean Desai, right? He got Super Bowl rings. And the defense looks worse than it did when we started. And I just saw the news right before I came on the air about 6:45. New England Patriots want to interview Matt Patricia. So, this coaching carousel is crazy. Do I want Nick Sirianni to be fired? No, I do not. Because he hasn't had a losing season in the NFC East since he's been a coach. And I don't think people appreciate how difficult that is to do. I don't care what weapons you have. I don't care how weak the division is. It is hard to get wins in this league. And you know what? I go back to what Fletcher Cox said. I don't know who he was talking to. And basically he said the same thing. He's like, do y'all know how hard it is to get 11 wins in the NFL season? And he's 100% correct. And let me add something to that. Do you know how hard it is to get 11 wins after you went to the Super Bowl? Everybody thought we was going to have this Super Bowl hangover. And come to find out, it wasn't the Super Bowl. It was the friggin' injuries. The same problem everybody else has, except we just got it like worse. Super worse. And we couldn't recover. The only thing that really has been exposed in our situation is Howie's reluctance to draft or re-sign good linebackers. That has been to our detriment. So I'm hoping that in this offseason, whenever it comes, that Howie's going to get on his grind. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get Trotter Jr. or something like that. But we have to get a high-quality linebacker. I do believe Nakobe Dean is going to be good if he stays on the field. I got to go back and look at some of his Georgia tape. Was he always hurt at Georgia? I know he was a captain, so I know he balled. But, I didn't watch enough Georgia that much to understand what he was like playing and things like that. Was he durable? All of that type of stuff. And even if he was, once you get to the league, everything you did in college gets wiped. You start from square one again. You a freshman again. Instead of freshman, they call you a rookie. So I don't know what his, Everybody's ankle gets messed up. That is not an unusual injury that he got. Happens to the best of them. Ankles and hamstrings. So it's hard, especially now, to call somebody injury prone. But we'll see. We shall see. Don saying Jim is a college coach. Okay. Sensitivity and anger management classes. That's what makes him a good coach, though. Don't ask him to change it. You ask him to change, you ain't getting the same person. You got to be careful of that. I don't know if he'll stay at Michigan. I think he's gonna come to the pros. Because remember, at Michigan, and I thought the same way about Saban. And to a degree, Harbaugh might be in the same boat. When you look at the situation it is in college football and the NCAAs with NILs, transfer portals, everything that comes with that picture right now. I can understand why Saban was just like, I'm out. I got enough national championships from multiple teams. I've sent more guys to the NFL than any other coach. What else do I need to do? Maybe he looked at what happened with Florida State, wasn't happy with it, all of that kind of stuff. Maybe he just wiped his hands and done with it. Harbaugh might be in the same boat. Harbaugh's just a little bit younger and has much more of a future ahead of him, whereas Saban just want to chill. Maybe he want to go to a Alabama game and just watch, or sit at home on his couch. One of the best things, and you don't think of it while you're in the mix, but when I coached them 9 years for Gloucester Township, every Saturday, you at a game. Every Saturday, you hustling kids around. Every Saturday, you up at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's a grind. And some days, you don't want to have to go to a game. You don't want to have to make sure all the kids are there. All of that kind of stuff. Saban might be in the same boat. He just want to sit back and chill. And he's earned it. What else could Saban possibly do? He done coached in I totally forgot. Saban coached at Miami. The Dolphins. Totally forgot about that. He was at the Dolphins for what, 3 years? And then when Shula got fired at Alabama, he took the job. Because the pro game wasn't for him. Too many rules. He ain't like it. I believe the story I read said Saban decided to go to Alabama when he was the head coach. The Dolphins signed Dante Culpepper instead of trying to get Drew Brees. That was who Saban wanted. And because they didn't, he was like, well, if they're not going to let me get the quarterback that I want, I ain't going to stay. So, but hold on. Dave, what are you talking about? Hold on. Slade talking about pressure playing on the team that was so close. Slade talked about the pressure of playing on a team that was so close to winning the Super Bowl last year and how much it sucks. And the pressure, and everyone has all this tape and gives you their very best. He said it's been the hardest year of his career, and he had some 4-win seasons. I get it. He and his feelings. It is what it is, but you got to expect that. It beats the alternative because you wasn't sniffing the Super Bowl when you was in Detroit. And I was in a conversation about Barry Sanders and how it's just a shame. Barry Sanders, his personality kept him in Detroit. He just wasn't that guy. He was happy where he was. He was devoted to Detroit and the things that he could do there. And that's cool, but he wasn't going to win. And when he had his opportunity to go somewhere else, he chose to stay. And props to him for that. However, You play this game to win a championship. And he never got to, not even sniffed it. Same way with Megatron. Never even sniffed it. Not even got close. And to me, that's a shame. To me, that's a shame. At least Larry Fitzgerald got to the game. So is it a wasted opportunity? It was his choice. So nothing you can do. Mike, as a coach, you need to either mitigate deficiencies and potentiate strengths. The staff is not mitigating anything and has been hindering their strengths. Yeah, I don't know what to call it. I don't know what to call it. Because if you would have said that last year, we would have called you crazy. Because again, Nick Sirianni should have been coach of the year. Or at least in the running. So I don't exactly know what the situation is. Is it Nick's offense, but Brian Johnson is calling the plays? Or is Nick, it's one thing to call the plays, but is Nick helping him put together the play sheet and all the plays that Nick wants first? Is that what he's doing? I don't know. But I know Nick Sirianni said it was his offense. He made clear that was the case. So, but let me see here. Let me pause real quick because we've been rolling with this. And let's pay some bills. Let's go to you know what? Let's do Carlino's first.
In our family, food is our daily bond. My nonna, affectionately called Mama by many, found solace and joy in the kitchen, sharing her love through delicious creations. She turned her culinary passion into a flourishing business alongside her husband and sons in 1983. Celebrating 40 years is a testament to our exceptional team, friends, family, and beloved customers. With gratitude, we look forward to the future, expanding our brand to share the highest quality Italian food and wine nationwide. Our heartfelt thanks to everyone who has played a part in our story. Grazie mille.
How do you not win with a player named Megatron? Crime of the century. I agree 100%. I agree. This is what everybody, most of the comments I have seen are making the suggestion. Sirianni stays, bring in Wink Martindale. I wouldn't mind to see Wink Martindale. It would satiate the blitz crazy fanaticism that we have in this city. But at the end of the day, you can't blitz without linebackers. You can't do it. And I tell you what, in the offseason, everybody on that defense need to go to a damn tackling class. Every one of them. Because our tackling is just outright atrocious. Ain't no two ways about it. It's a shame. It is not fun to watch. And it has cost us some games. It definitely has cost us some games. So, but I would definitely like to see Martindale, Pat Schumer as a OC. I mean, we'll see. We're gonna have a lot of. I think nobody expected to have these type of choices towards the end of the year. And the funny thing is, we got to remember, we in the playoffs. We are in the playoffs. I would like to. Here's the thing. I would love to see them go get Denard Wilson because they never should have got rid of him. He should have been the DC. However, I think he's going to be a hot commodity because I think Baltimore is going to be in the same boat. Baltimore going all the way. I think they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. So their coaching staff is going to get cherry picked too. So that's going to be hard to figure out. That's going to be very, very difficult to figure out. So I don't understand What they're going to do, I don't know where their head is at right now. I mean, I'm sure that it's all about the playoffs, the wild card game. So, Dave Gates, what are my thoughts on the Titans and Panthers asking to interview Brian Johnson for head coaching positions? Perhaps he would be better a head coach than an OC. Plus, he would be running his own offense, not Nick's. Curious of your thoughts. That is a very interesting question, and that's one of those things that's going to be answered, and we may be angry based on what we find out. Because let's just say hypothetically, let's just say that he does get the job in Carolina and he does run his own offense and the offense looks better than ours. That answers your question. If his offense is not boring, if we don't run every damn bubble screen you can think of, then you get the answer to your question. Was it Brian Johnson or was it Nick Sirianni? So that's one of those things that can only be answered in time. So we'll see the answer to that, or it'll be a situation where somebody that has left the team might have something to say, very similar to what Javon Hargrave said about practicing in San Francisco and practicing in Philly. So, good question, but that answer is going to take some time. Martian, I'm 100% with you. I think the only way we could get Denard Wilson back in here is if Howie makes him an offer that he can't refuse. Like, just throw so much money his way, and that's not going to happen. We never should have got rid of the kid. He was homegrown. He was here. He knew everybody. Everybody liked him, and we brought him up through the ranks. That was the perfect scenario. But you let Sirianni bring his guy in. Or, well, no, I won't say that, but it for whatever reason, maybe that Sirianni didn't like him. Because I don't think I didn't see the reason why you had to let him go. But I'm guessing that was Sirianni's decision. He wanted to go in a different direction. So, it is what it is. But we missed on that one. We whiffed on that one. What's up, Derry? What's good, fam? I was like, they bashing him, but team wants him as head coach. Derry, who you talking about? Who are they bashing? Denard Wilson? I don't know. Put that in the chat. Who are you talking about? Who are they bashing? Who would have thought Michael Clay would be the best coach on our roster right now? Didn't see that coming. Because my hand was up. I was like, yo, Michael Clay needs to be fired. After what we saw last year and how we lost the Super Bowl, never thought that he would be the best coach on his staff right now. Our offense is boring and predictable. Our defense is crap and can't tackle. Special teams. I made the joke earlier this year in preseason, it was regular season, when I stopped calling Britton Covey crash test. I was like, he is a legitimate returner now. Get that man, put some respect on his name, and call that man Britton Covey. No more crash tests. And didn't Britton Covey get didn't he get a Pro Bowl slot? So our special teams have been on point. So props to Michael Clay. Best coach on the roster this year. By far. So I would think that Michael Clay may get some before it's all said and done. But then again, maybe he don't want him. Maybe he ain't ready for that. Our special teams was not solid last year. Not even. Nope. I disagree 100%. Our special teams was not good last year, and it cost us a couple games. Look at all these coaches right now. We got Belichick, Vrabel, Bieniemy, Rivera, Wilkes, Josh McDaniels, Jim Harbaugh. Obviously, we're not going to consider Brian Johnson for our team, but Eric Bieniemy, Ron Rivera, Wilkes in San Francisco, and Josh McDaniels, they all get the big nope. They won't get a sniff this way, and we wouldn't want them. The only candidates I think that can make some noise and make things very interesting here in Philadelphia would be Belichick and Vrabel. That's it. Yeah. Martian, we're gonna agree to disagree, bro. Our special teams was not good. Oh, the Super Bowl winning year. Oh, my bad. Okay, that makes sense, but not last year. Martian, I don't think we're struggling on the offensive line. Listen. I don't promote other podcasts unless I learn from them and I have value in them. There is a podcast I just started watching. I've been 2 months in now. It's called the O-Line Committee. And two of the guys on there are, I think between them, they played 15 years in the league. Both of them offensive linemen. So a lot of stuff that they talk about, and they go to the next degree when they're breaking down film. And they talk about you might see a play and it might look like a lineman got beat, but in reality, maybe the center made the wrong call, or there's different things and different little idiosyncrasies that they could call out that even somebody like me wouldn't, unless you were offensive lineman, you wouldn't be able to see it. And a lot of the stuff that they talk about with the Eagles, the offensive line is doing a good job. It's everything else that's happening that is just not right. They show one play where it was a run play that ended up getting like 2-3 yards, but it should have went for like 15 to 20. But what happened was Jordan Mailata was trying to get off his block and go to the next level because he was supposed to chip down, help out the tight end, and then go up to the linebacker. But what happened was it was either the defensive end held him, grabbed his jersey, and he couldn't get off the block, and that linebacker ended up making the tackle. If he gets that block, that would have been like a 15 to 20-yard gain. But it's little things like that they can pick up. So for the most part, our offensive line has been doing fairly well, because I'm looking at it like, how many times had Jalen Hurts dropped back and he's looking, and then he bails out? Or earlier in the year when his knee was hurt, he was taking a sack because he couldn't move. That was quite evident. Now you got to look at it from the standpoint of the stats are going to show that Jalen Hurts got sacked a lot this year. What the stats are not going to show is how many times he sat back in the pocket and it was either a coverage sack or he missed a guy or whatever the situation was. But he had like 5 or 6 seconds. And when you're getting past the 5-second mark for protection, that's a good job in protecting. That's on props to the defense. So, no, I don't think that the offensive line played bad this year. Matter of fact, in my opinion, the only coach that's safe with the Eagles is Jeff Stoutland. That's the only coach that I would consider untouchable. You pay that man whatever he wants, you give him the biggest office, and you leave him right damn there. Because that dude, when you get a coach like that and your offensive line is arguably the most important piece, you don't mess with a thing. You let that man do whatever he want to do. So, Belichick lands in Dallas. That would be interesting. That would be interesting because with the year Dallas is having, they're going to get picked clean. Their coach is going to get picked clean too. They already talking about what's the other one? What's the defensive coordinator down in Dallas. He ain't gonna last. He ain't gonna stay in Dallas. This might be because if Dallas doesn't win the Super Bowl, McCarthy's out, in my opinion. He's out. So we got a lot of stuff going on. As far as the game on Monday, who's going to be the best hurt quarterback? That's what I want to know. Dan Quinn. Thank you, Vince. Dan Quinn. Hold on, Don. You know what? Let's rock out these last two ads, and then we're going to come back. So we're going to hit Royal Billiards, and then everybody's favorite, the Hat Jaw.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor,
and fun.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
Hats.com is the premier destination for quality and fashion-forward hats and more, with designs for every style and trend. Locally based and run by Philly sports team fanatics, Hats.com can help you elevate your hat John. Utilize the easy-to-use guides at Hats.com to find your perfect size and style, and shipping and returns are free. Hats.com. Find yourself in a hat. Use code Philly for 15% off your order. Hats.com.
Hat John. Yeah, Dan Quinn might end up in Seattle. I think Quinn and Vrabel are the top two choices for the Seattle job. That's a good spot to be, because Seattle's got a decent team. All they need is a quarterback. They're in a perfect spot because they could draft a quarterback or sign somebody else. They would probably want to get a young quarterback, and then Geno Smith can just kind of bring him up. That's a good spot, Seattle. Jerry Jones always loved Bill Belichick. Jerry Jones always rubbernecking though, man. Jerry Jones just moved in a new house and he already looking at another one. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. What's up, Don? What happened to Jalen Hurts? How did he regress? I don't know. I'm not sure if it's regression as opposed to maybe a little bit too loosey-goosey with him, or maybe giving him a little bit too much control. I saw the story with John McMullen talking about Jalen doesn't know how to read defenses and hot routes, and I refuse to believe that because he did it last year. And that's, to me, that's something you can coach up, in my opinion. I've seen enough offenses to know that you can tell a quarterback, say, hey, if you see this, throw the slant. Or you can game plan hot routes, just like you do anything else. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. A hot route just means you recognize the defense. You see all them guys in college and in pros. If they recognize the blitz coming, that's when they go with the hand signals and doing all of this stuff, and and all of that kind of stuff. All of that stuff means something. All that stuff means something. When I was in college, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what our quarterback would do is he would just look at X and Z. He leave the tight end alone. He would look at X and Z. He would read the defense, and based on our film study, he would give this guy a pass pattern, and he would give this guy a pass pattern. And the numbers were just the tree. And we would go, usually it was 1 through 5, so he could do it on one hand, but we went all the way up to 9. So sometimes he would throw up a 8 or something like that. But he could read the defense, and he would know, so we would adjust on the fly. So you could do it. But it seems to me like we don't coach that up. But that goes back to the is it Brian Johnson? Like, why is our offense so predictable? Why is Jalen Hurts? Why are we? Here's an interesting question. You're talking about regression. Everybody was complaining that he was forcing the ball to AJ Brown. Just totally forgetting the fact that AJ Brown went on a unprecedented NFL record-setting 6-game run after AJ Brown was complaining about not getting the ball. I don't care what anybody say. We know what that conversation was about. It wasn't necessarily get him the ball, but it was like, I'm beating my guy, I'm open. Because if you watch, and I watched this and I noticed it the other day when I watched it. If you watch that conversation, there's an angle where you can see, and at least I can read Jalen Hurts' lips. And the whole time Jalen Hurts was like, I got you. Like, I got you. Chill. I got you. And when you hear that from a quarterback, usually what the receiver is saying is, I'm killing my man over here. You ain't got to say, throw me the ball. I'm killing my man. I used to do that in college. Because at one point, I was that dude. And I would look over at my coach and I'm like, and sometimes I would hear, oh, Marcus wants the ball. And they couldn't stop me. That's where we were last year. They knew what was coming and they couldn't stop it. They knew an RPO was coming. They couldn't stop it. That's how good we were last year. And we lost it. We lost it when he got hurt. And it hamstrung us. So that RPO, that play action thing, we just couldn't get it done no more. So there's a lot that goes into the regression. I think it is regression. I think he was forcing the ball, but I think he was forcing the ball throwing low percentage passes. Why is it 3rd and 5 and we throwing 30 yards down the field? That is the stuff that infuriates me. We can move the chains. Why are we not moving the chains? What are you doing? And if it is on Jalen, if Jalen is calling it on the line of scrimmage, changing the plays and goes with what he sees, that's the coach trusting his player. However, if it's not working, it is the coach's responsibility to check the player. That's what you get paid for, to be the coach. Check your player. And that's one thing that I don't think Sirianni, because you've heard Jalen Hurts say this. I don't think Sirianni coaches Jalen hard enough. So in that respect, maybe somebody like Belichick may be a little bit better. But although, is Belichick going to be on the offensive side of the ball? I thought Belichick was a defensive guy. I don't know. We gotta. I don't know. I know he's hurt. I know I saw the report where he hadn't thrown the ball all week, and I'm like, ugh. So now it's like, who's going to be the best hurt quarterback when we play Tampa Bay? Tampa Bay is not a better team than us. But if we go and put forth an effort like we did down up in New York, it's going to be. If we look like we are clueless, I can see. Again, I don't want it to happen, but I can see Sirianni getting axed. NFL is a results-based business. We need results. You play for the playoffs. Players want them playoff checks. That's what it's all about. So, Ewing, I kind of hope you're right, because I want to see how this plays out. What I don't want to see, however, and I already know it's coming, because Brian Johnson ain't coming back. And what sucks is Jalen Hurts going to have to learn another offense. Is that what's going to have to happen? Don, I had seen that before, but he threw to his left last year fairly well. So you could add up the stats for this year. I'd heard that before, but at the end of the day, just get the ball into the hands of AJ Brown. That's all you got to do. Turnovers, yeah, Derry. And I gotta look how many interceptions did Jalen Hurts throw this year because of deflections? If we run in some type of screen on the line of scrimmage, I believe he had 3 picks this year, specifically because we were running a screen. He's throwing the ball maybe a yard downfield, and it gets tipped because somebody's in his throwing lanes. I know one happened when we played the Jets. I know one happened a couple weeks ago when we played not the Giants, but the Cardinals. And there's another one in there somewhere. But yeah, turnovers killed us this year. And think about this, like when we played the Cowboys in Dallas, right? Our 3 best players, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, they all fumbled the ball in Dallas territory. We were either in the red zone. No, we were in the red zone one time. We were about to be in the red zone and Devontae Smith fumbled. And when Jalen fumbled, I think we were going to be close to the red zone. And then you had, I think AJ Brown dropped the pass that would have put us inside the 5. So it's a very uncharacteristic game for us. And we gave up 21 points. When we played when San Francisco thumped us, we go down the field and come back with field goals. If we score, you look at that game totally different. Totally different. Now, it may have ended up the same way towards the end of the game because we couldn't tackle to save our life. But the way that game was called for San Francisco, that may have been a different game. Jalen misses a wide open tight end on the first play of the game. So, I mean, there's enough blame to go around all year. And they finally caught up to us on top of injuries. But to me, there's no excuse for not having hot routes. I don't care what anybody says. I don't agree with John McMullen talking about he doesn't know how to throw hot routes because he can't read the defense. That's nonsense. Do not believe that at all. And when the blitz does come and you see every receiver running 10 yards down the field, if a blitz is coming, you got maybe 2 steps and you should be looking for the ball. But we don't throw the hots. At worst, it gets knocked down. But you got to have, it's better than taking a sack. What's up, Brian? Better than taking a sack. But we so predictable. And, rubbing salt on the wounds was the injury to Devontae Smith. On a bubble screen, like, ugh. And if y'all remember, last year, I was saying the same thing. The bubble screen makes me think like our offensive coordinator can't think of anything to call. That's what I think of when I see a bubble screen. They can't figure out what they want to call. So there's bubble screen left, go. It's almost like they panic. And then he said, well, we ran a bubble screen before and we converted on the 3rd and 17. And that is correct. However, what they don't tell you was when we ran that bubble screen to Devontae Smith and he did convert that 3rd and 17, what he did was he broke 2 tackles. And I don't want to have to make a Superman type play just to get a first down. The percentage is low. I don't want that. I want high percentage passes. Get the ball into AJ Brown. Get the ball into the hands of your best player and let him make plays. Period. That's all you got to do. A.J. Brown coming across the middle, his yak yards are off the chain. Get him the ball. Forcing him the ball doesn't mean you got to throw it deep. Just throw him a slant. They're going to play off of him anyways. Or try to figure out a way to get Devontae deep on that skinny post. He kills folks with that. They should be working together. You shouldn't have to force it. And the whole situation with DeAndre Swift, again, you guys that have been with me for a while, Chucks, if you on here, Vince, if you on here, you guys know even last year I was saying the same thing. We were not using Miles Sanders correctly. Now we're doing the same thing with DeAndre Swift. We are not using him correctly. How many screen plays have we thrown to DeAndre Swift? How much play action do we run with DeAndre Swift? Not enough. I know we got tapes in the archives. Go back and see what we did with a man named Darren Sproles. Go back and see what we did with that dude. And why can't we bring some of that vibe back? We got a guy that's got that type of potential. He might not be as quick, but he's quick enough. Why can't we do that? Why can't we look at some of the tape from San Francisco and incorporate some of their motions? Everybody else is doing it. Run our same plays, but use their motion. Their motion works. Their offensive sets work. Every time they put Debo, CMC, or Brandon Ayuk as the end man on the line of scrimmage, you already got an automatic mismatch. You got a linebacker covering a skill position. That is bad for business. And that's what we're not doing. We're not taking advantage of matchups. You want to get Quez Watkins in the game? Put Quez Watkins on the inside and let a linebacker have to cover him. You might not like Quez. He's still fast and he's still big. Or put Oz there. Whatever you want to do. But we got to mix it up. The last 6 weeks, we talk about the keys of the game. Keys of the game have not changed. Offensive line, got to establish the line of scrimmage, and we have to run the ball effectively. We got to run play action. And now you add to that an addendum, you got to have hot routes. Defense, it is what it is, but we got to tackle. That has not changed in 6 weeks. And we were talking about that way before. Week 7. We've been talking about this stuff since the first Washington game. When Sam Howell lit us up that first time and they almost pulled that victory out. So these are not new. And to me, that is what can get Nick Sirianni promoted to fan. These are not complicated solutions. This is an extra play or letting you guys know we got a new formation this week. We got a new motion this week. Change it up. Give a different look. Run the same plays, but just make it look different. And you already know Todd Bowles is going to blitz the hell out of us. And we know it's coming. Now, if we know Todd Bowles is going to blitz like crazy and we don't have hot routes set up, then yes, Sirianni should be fired. And that's why I say it's not if we lose, it's how we lose. If we look like we ain't did a lick of film study, then yes, Sirianni needs to be fired. But we still have an opportunity because, in my opinion, we still got the best team that's going into Tampa. So we got to show up. So we'll see what's going to happen. We'll see what's going to happen, man. So the talk and the conversation in Philly, it seems like it's already the end of the season. It's like we got a playoff game. We got a wild card game. This is a playoff check. That's what I'm talking about. And you never know what can happen. So I just want the Eagles to look like they know what they're doing out there. That's it. That's it. If we get beat by, I don't mind losing to a better team. The team that beats me in the playoffs, I want to see that team go to the Super Bowl. Because my logic is, if you're going to beat me, I want to be beaten by the best. When we beat the Patriots, when we won our Super Bowl, we took Tom Brady's best shot, and Nick Foles came out on top. It wasn't nothing the Patriots could say. It wasn't no BS. It wasn't no bad calls. We took their best shot, and we countered. When we played Kansas City, we took their best shot, and we ran out of time. So if I'm going to get beat, I want to get beat by the best. If we make it to the second round, I want to get beat by San Francisco. I want to see San Francisco win the Super Bowl. Because I want to say I got beat by the team that went on ahead and won the Super Bowl. We'll be up against next year. So we're going to see. We're going to have a lot to talk about next week either way. Either way. So, yeah, I appreciate that, Jason 18. So, you know what, Jason? I'm going to close it out on that one, man. That'll be my mic drop. So we going to see what we are going to see. I hope we got our hot routes together. I hope we got a little bit of panache in the play calling, and I hope we can just tackle like an NFL team. And if we can do that, we'll win. All right, I'm going to get up out of here because I'm hungry and get something to eat. But should be a good weekend. Can't wait to see it. Keep checking out the website, Pro Fan Talk, on YouTube. Gonna have some content because it's going to be some more news coming out before the game start. So we'll see. But I appreciate y'all being on my team. The chat was fire. The chat has been fire the last couple of weeks. So keep this up. Everybody come back next week, and please bring a friend. Invite somebody so they can tune in. Always here on the mothership, A2D Radio. You know how we do. You might as well join up because we ain't going nowhere. All right, I'm going to see y'all next week. Peace.